But Jackson-Davis, probably the biggest element maybe to this game, aside from Curry's brilliance in the last 5 minutes. 13 point, 10 rebound, double-double. Matched up against an all-star in Domantas Sabonis. And I don't think you could have asked for much more, to be honest. I thought some of his defensive work on Sabonis. Now, Sabonis had 12 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Like, it was a good game. But in terms of what Jackson-Davis was able to do defensively, in terms of bottling Sabonis up at the rim on a few occasions, making things as difficult as possible for him, I don't think you could have asked for much more. Now, offensively, it's quite incredible, really. The fact that with less than 5 minutes remaining in this game, before Steph found his rhythm and absolutely exploded, the Warriors leading shot takers in this game, in a game where, as I've described, it was a dress rehearsal where, the main players were playing 30-plus minutes. The leading shot takers were Jonathan Kuminga and Trayce Jackson-Davis. Both had 14 field goal attempts with less than 5 minutes remaining to lead Golden State. I thought his ability to put himself in position, he had a couple of fantastic baseline dunks in the fourth quarter, including an and one that he didn't cap off at the free throw line, but still really impressive. His positioning on both ends of the floor. Now, he could have made a few that he missed, a few bunnies at the rim. I mean, the fact is that he shot 6 for 14 from the field, which for a center where all his shot attempts came in the paint and around the rim, that's slightly disappointing, I suppose. But I don't think that's like, there are some layups there and stuff like that he's going to finish in time, right? Give him just a little bit more NBA experience and he's finishing those. So this is in 6 months' time, you could see, or not even 6 months' time, 2 months' time, 3 months' time, you could see a game like this where, maybe Loon's out or whatever, and Jackson-Davis does get the start and maybe he plays 24 minutes like he did. And this might have actually been a 20-point, 10-rebound, double-double. That's like, just think about the fact that he makes 3 of, his missed layups around the rim, and all of a sudden he's got 19 points. He makes the free throw that he had, and he gets the 20. Like, that's how good this game was from Trayce Jackson-Davis. You can't speak highly enough about it. And honestly, so it's going to look a lot different, obviously, because you're going to have Loon come back and you're going to have Draymond come back. And the other point was Saric was really impressive, particularly in the first half. The offensive versatility that he gives you, I've been speaking about it all off season. It's not a surprise by any means, but it's still fantastic to see it come into fruition on the floor with how much of a perfect fit he is for the Warriors in that second unit. And he played a lot in the first unit as well. They ended up closing with Steph, CP, Clay, Wiggs, and then Saric at the 5 because Jackson-Davis did have some late foul trouble. I'm not sure if they would have gone to Saric if it wasn't for the foul trouble for Jackson-Davis, who ended up with 5 fouls. Maybe they would have anyway, just given the experience that Saric provides. Because this was a game where both teams were trying to win, right? Like the Kings had their main guys going down the stretch, as did the Warriors. This was probably a more competitive preseason game than I've ever seen. Really, like both teams were really having at it. But Jackson-Davis, among all the kind of veteran players on the floor, really held his own. Defensively, as I spoke about, positioning-wise, being able to make things as difficult for Sabonis as possible, who, still played a reasonable game, but I thought there were a couple of foul calls on Jackson-Davis and Steve. I've actually just finished listening to Steve's press conference. He alluded to the fact there are a couple of calls there on TJD that were rookie calls, basically, that a couple of years into the league and, they're not calling fouls on those. I know there was one, and Fitz on the broadcast was huge on it, where I think it was Keegan Murray came down the lane, made a little kind of floater kind of thing, and they called it was an and one. They called a foul on Jackson-Davis, and he went straight up. It wasn't a foul, and that's just kind of the rookie calls, right? And we've seen it, regularly. We've seen it with Kuminga over his first 2 seasons. You kind of young and inexperienced, and the refs just don't really give you the respect that you may deserve, right? But look, there's some things with his lack of size, I suppose, where there were a couple of times where Fox made layups over him, where a taller player, right? I think the Warriors listed him at 6'8" on the training camp roster. If he's 6'11", close to 7'4", he's probably blocking those shots. But for a 57th overall pick to come in and potentially have the impact that he's going to have for the Warriors this season, again, is it that much of a surprise given he's had 4 years of college at Indiana, given that he's 23 years of age? Is it that much of a surprise? Maybe not, but still, again, to see it in real time on the floor, the kind of two-way impact that he can have. And, there's plenty of, polishing and refinement to his game to come. So, there's improvement certainly there. Little doubt about that. But he's working himself to a point where he's going to have to play in the rotation.